Hey everybody, Brian here with TrailGrid Pro. Today we got another awesome installation video because we're putting in the new Sony 9500ES in this 2021 Tundra TRD Pro. If you guys haven't heard about the Sony 9500ES, this is going to be the upgrade for your Toyota Tundra. Not only does it boast a 10.1 inch high definition floating touchscreen, it also comes loaded with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's Sirius XM ready. It's all powered by the Maestro RR module, which is going to retain all of your factory settings and configuration ability that you have in your truck currently. And it's also going to allow you to add on things such as front cameras. If you guys are considering an aftermarket head unit for your Tundra, this is the one. Now that we've talked about the specs of this new head unit, let's get it put in the truck and we'll show you what it can actually do. To get started with the installation of this new Sony plug-and-play bundle, we're going to have to get access to basically the center of your dash. In my particular situation, we're going to have to do a couple extra steps because I do have this 8-switch controller down here that controls all of my light bars and ditch lights, which is going to obstruct getting this bottom panel out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the shift knob off because we're going to end up removing the cup holder assembly. Set that to the side. Opening up the armrest compartment here, we're going to pry up on the edge there, which is going to release this panel. I'm going to work it up over the shifter. And you can see I haven't cord run through there, so we're going to set that to the side for now. We're going to be removing the bottom panel here that has our USBs and buttons. To do that, if you look at the panel here, right, there's a gap right here between the bottom panel and where the air conditioning control panel is. I'm just going to take a little pry tool and gently pry out. And then we're going to pull this straight out towards us. Hang that down out of the way. The next thing that we're going to remove is the controls here for the heating and air. To do that, you just reach in behind and gently pull out. And we're going to release the one connection here. You set this piece off to the side. Our next step is, if you look under the head unit, there are 4 10mm bolts that hold the head unit in. So to get to the ones in the back, I definitely recommend an extension. Go ahead and remove these 4 10mm bolts. All right, we're going to set our bolts to the side. We're going to reuse those here in a minute. And now the head unit itself should come loose. So in the same fashion that we did the heating and air control, I'm going to pull out straight towards us. Grab our other bolt. And then this entire assembly will now be free of the dash. And then the next step is we're just going to unplug all of the connections off of the back of the factory head unit. So each of them has a tab. Simply just going to depress the tabs and pull them all out. Now that we have our factory head unit completely disconnected from the truck, we'll go ahead and place this on the bench and we'll grab our Sony 9500 bundle and get that installed. One thing to note with your 9500 bundle, when you get it in the mail, the screen itself will be detached So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to attach the chassis, which is going to come preloaded in the dash kit. And then you'll have all of your wiring here already connected. I know this may look like a bird's nest of wires here, but I promise you this is just as simple as matching plug for plug between the wires here and the wires in your truck. So let me show you how to do that. Before we start making our connections, I'm going to go ahead and I grabbed just a microfiber head laying around. I'm just going to place this down here just so that we don't scratch anything. Sometimes it's easier to place the head unit itself down so that you have both hands free to be able to make all of the connections. These are what your factory plugs are going to look like. So we're going to start with, this is the AM/FM antenna, which we'll find here. Like I said, this is just a matter of lining up plugs, and you heard it snap into place. So continuing with matching up plugs, coming out of the RR, you'll have these two white and a black plug. These are going to connect to your master harness here. So again, just matching plugs. And like I said, these are all keyed. So if they don't go together, then that means they don't go together. So you shouldn't have to force the plugs into each other. They should all just snap into place like that. Next, we're going to get our USB plug, and that's going to fit with this gray connector. And the only plugs we have left are the factory navigation, and then I also have the Sirius XM tuner, which is going to come with its own adapter as well. I know I said at the beginning of this installation that all of the plugs only match one place. That is true, except for this one exception, and it's going to be this black and white connector. So if you'll see here, the black connector runs to the Sirius XM tuner, and the white connector is going to go to your factory GPS location. So make sure that your GPS goes to the white, and if you elected to add or retain Sirius XM, that adapter goes to the black plug. All right, so we have those connected. I'm just going to give one final check here. Just make sure we don't have any plugs that are hiding. Another important note on this, you will have plugs left over on your factory side. The functionality will still be there, but the RR and the Sony unit don't necessarily utilize all the plugs. So if you have extra plugs left over, don't be alarmed, that is normal. Now that we have all of our connectors between the harness and the truck made, last thing that we need to do is route our provided Sony microphone. You're going to have to use the Sony microphone and able to use your Siri, your phone calls, anything like that. So we'll go ahead and straighten the cable out here. And for right now, I'm going to opt to mount the microphone itself. It comes with a little pedestal and a piece of 3M tape there. I'm going to mount it on top of the steering column. We are in the process of developing a Sony microphone mount, just like we have available for the 4Runner and the Tacoma. And eventually the microphone will be mounted up here in the headliner console. But like I said, that's still in development. So for right now, we're going to go ahead and place it right here. Easiest way to get that accomplished, so we're going to take our microphone, and when you go in the dash, we're going to go all the way towards kind of the back up here, and you'll feel there's a large open spot, and we're going to just drop the microphone down, and it should fall out in the driver's side footwell here by the gas pedal. So we'll just kind of work it down. All right, it's popped out. We're going to put the steering column in its highest position, which will give us access under the bottom of the steering column. And we're going to reach through with one hand, and the other hand we're going to feed the microphone up. And now we have our microphone sticking out the bottom of the steering column. Like I said, we need to get it to the top. So we'll go ahead and slide our steering wheel back to where I had it, and then we'll just route the wire around, and we'll just go ahead and stick it right there. on top of the cover for the steering column. Moving back to the head unit side, see we have a lot of extra cable here. Just gonna make sure we pull the slack tight, and then we're gonna wrap this up. And then we're gonna reuse the twist tie that was holding this together in the box. And then we're going to plug this jack in right here next to the AM FM antenna. You'll see a red port and it's labeled mic directly on top. That's where we're going to plug that into. Now that we have all of our connections made, all we're going to do is work our wires into the dash, gently tucking them in. If at any point while you're putting the head unit in, if you feel any sort of resistance, something's clearly getting caught, just gently pull it back out. You may have to reposition or tuck the wires in a different spot. So just keep working these in. All right. Like we saw, I want to make sure that all of our clips here in the corners are nice and secure. Go ahead and take this opportunity to wipe off the fingerprints. Our recommendation is that you go ahead and get the screen, place the screen into the chassis of the unit, make sure that everything works. We don't want to put the dash all back together just to figure out that something's not plugged in the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the screen and we'll get that in place. Before we put the screen into the head unit, a few things I want to touch on real quick. Another great thing about this 9500 ES system is its adjustability and customization. If your preference is to move the screen from where we've set it when you get it, you can absolutely do that. And I'll show you just how simple it is here on the back. You have the ability with the screws here on the side to move the screen in and out, away or closer to the dash. We've set it where it sits as close to the dash as possible. Behind the side covers here, you also have the ability to move it up and down vertically, and here, as well as even on top, you can move it left or right. So you can really dial this in for whatever your preference is going to be. All right, let's get the screen on and we'll get everything powered up. So to do that, we're just going to line up the screen there and push it all the way in. There are 5 screws that are going to hold the screen to the chassis. We'll install those after we've powered the unit up and make sure that everything's working properly. Let's put our truck into accessory power. We're just going to push the ignition button twice. We'll hit the standby button here at the top. There you go. Mobile ES. There we are. So we have power. Look at that screen. That looks awesome. Go ahead and check our steering wheel controls. All right, we got volume up, volume down. You can skip. All right, mode works. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my phone. Go into Bluetooth. All right, so we're now connected, and there is our wireless Apple CarPlay. Now that we've confirmed that all of our steering wheel controls work, our Apple CarPlay is connected and it works, we're gonna go ahead and secure the screen to the chassis, and then our final step is just gonna be to put all of our panels back and get our truck button back up. Included in your kit will be this pack of 5 screws. These are gonna be the screws that are gonna secure your screen to the chassis of the head unit. You'll see that one of these screws is different than the other. We're going to secure that one last, so we'll go ahead and set it to the side. The 4 screws that we're gonna start with are gonna go, one of them's gonna go here, second one will go here, and then down below there's a 3rd and a 4th hole. If you have a magnetic screwdriver or magnetic tip screwdriver. I definitely recommend that for this. Now that we have those 4 screws secured, there's a little black cover. We're going to slide that up and we'll secure it in place with this last screw. Now that we have our screen secured to the chassis, we're going to go ahead and secure the chassis back to the truck using the 4 10mm bolts that we took out. Go ahead and grab our heating and air control panel here. Make the one connection on the back. It should snap right back into place. We'll line up the bottom clips here. That whole panel just pops back into place. Go ahead and grab my cup holder. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you don't have anything obstructing that bottom panel, this is not a necessary step for this install. Put our shift knob back on, and this completes the installation of your new Sony 9500 ES. Go ahead and put the truck in accessory mode by pushing the start stop button twice. You get this safety message every time the head unit powers up. It'll either go away by itself like it did, or you can hit that close button. Go back to home. Got our phone here. You can see it's already connected to Apple CarPlay. So we'll go ahead and go into the CarPlay menu. See, it's given us directions already to our favorite tint shop, Frederick Window Tinting. All right, and there we are. So this is your home screen for your Apple CarPlay. Android Auto will look however you're used to looking. You see we have your phone, music. Let's go ahead and try out some music. Wow, that sounds awesome. This radio has a 55 watt by 4 max power, so it is definitely pumping a good amount of power and sound to the speakers. So let's go ahead and we'll check out some more functionality here. You see we have maps, messages, all of the things that you've been accustomed to with if you've had Apple CarPlay in a previous vehicle or you've been in another vehicle that had it. We'll go ahead and try out Siri. We can activate Siri in a couple of different ways. The voice command on the steering wheel. Hey Siri, give me directions to Frederick Window Tinting. All right, excellent. So you can see there, Siri's giving us directions. Another way that you can get Siri to activate, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen here, you'll see the 8 little dots. If you just push and hold, she will also pop up. A couple more features of the 9500. If we go to the all apps, you can see there's a bunch of stuff here. You have your factory rear camera that you can simply touch the button. It's going to show us a rear camera. Obviously I have the tailgate down right now. If we go back, we can install 2 additional cameras. So if you wanted to add a camera to the front of your vehicle, you could also just plug that in and you would have control over that, your devices. And then a cool feature, you have all of your gauges here. Obviously these are not reading because the truck's not running right now, but it shows miles per hour, your RPMs, you have temperature, you have fuel percentage, you can do 0 to 60 times. It's got all sorts of cool stuff in here. So you get real-time diagnostics on your truck right here in your head unit. This is going to wrap up the installation of our new Sony 9500 ES plug-and-play bundle. To pick up one of these Sony 9500 ES plug-and-play bundles for your 2014 to 2021 Toyota Tundra, head over to the shop at www.trailgridpro.com. Until next time, have a blast out there.